So hopefully I've grown as a preacher, been doing this full time for 20 years, and it can seem hard, if preachers think of themselves improving, you can think, oh, so I wasn't amazing. I mean, you get that sometimes as a pastor. Preacher, your sermons have gotten so much better. You think, I know you're trying to be nice, but that means, what were you thinking 10 years ago? So we need the humility to say, it is a craft, it is a skill, and we want to get better at it. And so hopefully I am, and hopefully if Lord gives me 20 more years, I'll be better 20 years from now. I think of several things. One, listening to preachers and different kinds of preachers. So I think early on I read more than I listened to, although you can listen to them now. I read a lot of Lloyd Jones sermons. I listened to a lot of Piper sermons. I've listened to Ligon Duncan and John MacArthur and Alistair Begg on the radio, a lot of the guys that people would listen to. And I'm helped by listening to a lot of different kinds of guys preach, because they don't all do the same thing. They have their own style. So that helps me. I know when I started as a preacher, I'm sure I latched on to one or two models who were my heroes and needed to realize, no, I need to be myself as I preach. And then reading a lot. That may sound strange, but if you're going to preach for a lifetime or just decades, you have to be filling up with thinking new thoughts. Not that the Bible's saying something new, but I would say, at least in a literate culture, what I'm looking for with young men who are going to preach, I do want to know, do you like to read? Are you taking things? Because your life is going to be output. When you're in seminary, you feel like, okay, I want to go and teach things, because you're just sitting all day and people are pouring into you. And it only takes about 2 years in ministry that you get really hungry. Would somebody pour into me? I'm getting empty, just giving all this out. So hopefully by reading widely, challenging myself with lots of different things. And this is hard for preachers, the last thing I'll say, because you're preaching, obviously, but listen to other preachers. And I don't just mean the 5 or 6 guys that are your heroes or models, but if you got a Sunday off and your church go down the street and visit it, and you're on vacation, go to some other churches and learn from those guys. And sometimes you'll learn from things that you say, oh, I don't like the sound of that. Do I do that? I have been at services before, and afterward I'll ask my wife, now, do I sound like that? Because if I do, I'm not sure I should be in the ministry. And she's at least nice to say, whether she means it or not, no, you don't sound like that. So I've been helped by just listening to others. And this may sound almost heretical, but I think I have gotten better by preaching a little bit shorter. And I know Reformed guys, we can feel like if I'm really on fire, I'm going to preach 50 minutes, 55, 60. I'm not talking about preaching 15-minute sermonettes for Christianettes, John Stott's line. But maybe I'm just not good enough to do 50 minutes every Sunday. So I think, guys, if you're going to have a lot of years, Lord willing, so sometimes less is more.